Good day to you, lovely people. It's David Anthony, the creepy bard, coming to you from outside of the walls of the old city of Jerusalem. And behind me is the Jaffa Gate, so called because the road from this gate leads all the way to Jaffa. Now, while Jerusalem is about a 5,000-year-old city, these walls were not built until the 16th century by the Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. Now, if you look over here on the other side of the Jaffa Gate, there's a huge gap in the wall, which you'll get a better look at when we actually get over there. In 1898, the Kaiser Wilhelm II came to visit Jerusalem because the Ottomans had an alliance with the German Empire. But none of the gates of Jerusalem were big enough to accommodate his carriage, so they put a hole in the wall. They just blew a big hole right there. That was a smart idea. It's David Anthony, the creepy bard, coming to you from inside the city of Jerusalem, the old city of Jerusalem. I'm right now in the Armenian Quarter, and behind me is Migdal David, or the Tower of David. Now, this actually wasn't built by King David. This was originally built by Herod in the 1st century. If you look at the stones on the bottom there, you'll notice that each of those stones, I don't know if you can see it from here, but those stones each have a border around them. That's how you know that those are Herodian stones built by Herod the Great. Above that, those stones on top, those are Ottoman stones that were put in later. Now, the question is, if this tower was originally built by King Herod the Great, why is it called the Tower of David? Well, the reason why is because when the Crusaders came here in 1099, they killed pretty much everyone. So there was nobody to tell them what anything was. So they just kind of guessed. And of course the Bible talks about a Tower of David, that King David had a tower, and they saw a big tower and said, must be King David's tower. So now it's King David's tower. There you have it. Hey there, it's the creepy bard coming to you from the Armenian Quarter in Jerusalem. And the first thing I want to show you is just how narrow these frickin' streets are. That is because this is a city that predates the automobile. And when the city was built, nobody had any sort of notion that automobiles would ever exist. And so now there's really only enough room for one car to get through at a time. And some people, maybe, if you watch your step really close. Now, there are 4 quarters in Jerusalem. There's the Jewish quarter, the Muslim quarter, the Christian quarter, and this, the Armenian quarter. So you might ask, the other 3 are religions, and the 3rd one is a nationality. So why is there an Armenian quarter in this city? Well, the reason why is because Armenia was the first kingdom to convert to Christianity. This is before Constantine. This is before the Roman Empire went Christian. Armenia went Christian. And when they did, a lot of the Armenians came here and decided to settle here in Jerusalem because it was a holy city. This is the city of Jesus after all. Of course, for the Jews, it's a city of other things, but for them, it's a city of Jesus. And so you got a lot of Armenians here. Lovely architecture in this area. And one thing that I want to show you down this street is the upper chamber where Jesus had his last supper. Now, of course, this is the upper chamber according to the Armenians. There's another place here in the city which is the upper chamber as far as the Catholics are concerned, but hey, forget them, right? There's always different opinions as to what things are. I am still in the Armenian Quarter of the city. Right now I'm on Ararat Street, and I wanted to show you this lovely piece of artwork right here. The Armenians are known for their ceramics, and it is a common thing here in the Armenian Quarter for people to have a decorative ceramic piece above the door to their house. This one is owned by the Aslanian family. Aslanian, that means son of a lion in Armenian. And down this way is the upper chamber, where, according to the Armenians, Jesus had his Last Supper. Now, the Last Supper was also a Passover Seder, because you have to remember that Jesus was Jewish. And if you read the New Testament, it'll talk about how he breaks bread, so it's clearly flat bread, it's clearly matzah, and he's also got bitter herbs and wine. So yeah, if you're a Jew, you know exactly what that means. It's a Seder. It's a Passover Seder. And here we have it right here. This is the upper chamber, at least as far as the Armenians are concerned. This is the place where Jesus had his Last Supper. Of course, it is no longer an upper chamber. It is now in a basement, because Israel and everything is built on top and top and top and top of each other. And what was once an attic is now a basement. But yeah, lovely little place. Hey there, it's David Anthony, the creepy bard, and right now I am in a shuk right in the center of the old city. This area is sort of straddling the Armenian, Christian, and Muslim and Jewish quarters. Now you'll notice that this is sort of indoors-ish. There's windows that lead out to the outside. It's, you know, there's wind coming through. But this sort of an indoor market is a fairly common thing throughout the Middle East. And in order to really experience this, I mean, I know I'm showing you a bit of it right now, but you really got to come here yourself at some point, because part of experiencing this here is the smells. There's so many smells. Between people selling food, between people selling various incenses and other things. This is a magnificent place. You gotta come here. It's wonderful. Hey there, it's David Anthony, the Creepy Bard, coming to you from the Christian Quarter of the old city of Jerusalem. And I want to show you something up here in this wall above me is an old form of air conditioning. If you can look up at that wall behind me, you'll notice that there are all those little holes in the wall. Those are basically pots that have been built into the wall. And the way it works is you take a wet piece of cloth, you put it over the top of those holes, and then the wind comes through and it actually keeps everything cool. It's neat. All right, I'll see you in a bit. Hey to you lovely people, it's David Anthony, the Creepy Bard, coming to you from the Christian Quarter of the city of Jerusalem. And you'll see behind me the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where according to Christian tradition, Jesus is buried. Well, sort of according to Christian tradition, really what it was is Emperor Constantine, his mother, Helena, she decided that this is where Jesus was buried. How did she know? A vision? Probably. She might have been drunk. I have no idea. Either way, this is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and it is divided up amongst the various churches, the Catholic Church, the Greek Orthodox, and all these other churches. They've divided this place up in between them. And what I want to tell you about, that I find particularly fascinating, is that ladder right there. That one right there. That ladder was put up there, about 150 years ago, because basically the churches that have divided this place up amongst them have a sort of deal that nobody will do any renovations to this place without everybody's consent. And about 150 years ago, someone decided that that balcony up there needed to be repaired. And so they put a ladder up there in order to repair it. But then the other churches got rather miffed about it and said, no, you have to stop. But they didn't take down the ladder, because now that the ladder's there, it's part of the building. And they can't take it down unless everybody agrees. It's insane. I love it.